Marcelo Bielsa, former coach of the Argentine national team, stated a few years ago that the playable space in football is continuously shrinking. The only area in football that is expanding is the space between defenders and goalkeepers. Indeed, over the past 2 decades, defensive lines have pushed forward. At times, the rearmost defensive line defends at the halfway line. This is where the advantage of defending in chains comes into play. A team can play offside. When defenders act at the same level, all players behind them are offside. The space behind the defenders is therefore not directly usable for the opponent. The higher a defensive chain stands, the smaller the space available for the opponent to play. If a defensive chain moves up to the halfway line, no opponent can position themselves in the defensive half without being offside. The space for the opponent is thus restricted. A vast area of the field is controlled accordingly. Indeed, this concept of reducing space is crucial for defensive lines. The goal is to keep the area where the opponent can play as small as possible. The less space the opponent has available, the more difficult it becomes for them to find good offensive solutions. How do teams make the playing area smaller? One word you often hear in football, especially when talking about defense, is compactness. It's used all the time now in football discussions. When commentators, experts, or coaches want to praise how well a team is defending, they always talk about how compact the team is, like being compact is the most important thing in football. A compact defense is now seen as a strong defense. But in theory, compactness means something different. It's about how close together the players on a team are. The closer they are, the more compact the team is. Compactness works in 2 directions. Vertical compactness describes the distance between the deepest defender and the furthest forward striker. The smaller this distance, the higher the vertical compactness. Horizontal compactness describes the distance between the 2 widest players of a team. If these players are positioned at the touchline, the team is using the entire width of the field and is not horizontally compact. The closer these 2 outer players are to each other, the more compact the team is horizontally. The term compactness simply refers to distances. It doesn't imply whether they're good or bad. While it can be advantageous to defend closely together, it's not always necessary or beneficial. It's crucial to understand that compactness alone isn't a measure of a team's success. Even the most tightly knit defense can struggle if they fail to control key areas of the field effectively. The fundamentals of solid defensive strategy should always take precedence over simply being compact. It's essential to prioritize defending the central and deep areas of the field strongly, while only dedicating as much attention to the flanks as needed. However, when aiming to restrict space, compactness becomes invaluable. When a defensive line advances, the objective is to maintain close